video you are watching shows Alec Murdaugh's birthday being celebrated as his son. Paul joyously brings him a cake. Precisely 11 days after this video was recorded, Paul, along with his mother, Maggie Murdaugh, were maliciously executed on their family estate, the accused being none other than esteemed lawyer, father and husband of the victims, Alec Murdaugh. In a trial filled to the brim with dirty secrets, vile confessions, and shocking testimony, this is what happens when a lawyer is accused of murder. On June 7, 2021, at allegedly 8:50 p.m, Paul and Maggie Murdaugh were murdered at the family's hunting lodge kennels, their bodies plastered to the ground. Paul was shot twice with a 12-gauge shotgun, blowing his head off, while his mother Maggie was shot several times from the back with a .300 blackout rifle, roughly 30 feet apart from each other. Detective Green is first on the scene of the crime, where he sees 2 dead bodies and immediately calls for backup.
I want to let you know, because of the scene, I did go get a gun and bring it down here.
It's in your vehicle? Do you have any guns on you at all?
No, sir. It's leaning up against the side of my car.
Okay. You're fine, man.
He then calmly searches Alex, but finds no sign of paraphernalia.
This is your wife and son?
And son.
Okay.
It's bad. Check the pulses.
Yes, sir. This is the firearm you brought from inside the house?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I went and got. This is a long story. My son was in a boat wreck a few months back. He's been getting threats. Most of it's been benign stuff we didn't take serious.
Okay.
He's been getting like punched. I know that's what it is.
Okay.
Alec then brings up a very important detail of the case. 2 years before this moment, Paul Murdaugh had been involved in a fatal boat crash, where he was driving intoxicated with a group of his friends. The boat struck the pilings of a bridge, and as a result, 19-year-old Mallory Beach was killed.
When did you get home? Right when you called, or did you go to the house first? Where is the house?
I came to the house first. My mom has late stages Alzheimer's, and my dad is in the hospital.
Okay.
I left. I don't know what time. I can go back on my phone and tell you the exact times. Did you check?
Okay. Did I check what?
Did you check them?
We got medical guys that are that's what they're gonna do. Okay.
What are they doing? Can they hurry?
They are. Yes, sir. That gentleman that was out here already, he's one of the battalion chiefs. Okay. How did you pull up? You from back there?
I went to the house and they weren't home, which was odd. I tried to call.
Okay.
And then I knew they had been down here before I left to go to my mom's.
Okay.
And so that is loaded.
Okay.
You might want to unload it. But
Is this the only firearm with you? This is the only one, or is there any more in the truck?
I believe that's it.
Just wait right here for me for a second, okay?
The officer then proceeds to secure the perimeter. The cops continue their investigation.
I hate to have to do this.
I understand.
Yeah.
I totally understand. Yeah. So you don't have any problem with it.
Just start at the top. Take your time.
I knew it was really bad. My boy over there, I could see it was. I could see his brain on his.
What made you come out here tonight?
I went to, my mom's a late stage Alzheimer's patient. My dad's in the hospital. And Maggie's a dog lover, and she fools with the dogs. And I knew she'd gone to the kennel. I was at the house. I left the house and went to my mom's.
And after dinner, Maggie and Paul went to the kennels, or?
According to Alec's timeline of the murder, the last time he'd seen his family was at around 8:30 when they finished having dinner. Alec claimed that at around 8:30, Paul and Maggie left for the kennels while he took a nap on the couch. A little while after that, he went to see his mother, who has Alzheimer's, and came back to the house an hour later. When he didn't see Paul or Maggie, he drove to the kennels at 10:04 and that's when he saw their bodies submerged in a puddle of blood. He called 911 at 10:06, 20 seconds after arriving on the scene.
Did you kill Maggie?
No. Did I kill my wife?
Yes, sir.
No, David.
Do you know who did?
No, I do not know who did.
Did you kill Paul?
No, I did not kill Paul.
Do you know who did?
No, sir, I do not know who did. Do you think I killed Maggie?
I have to go where the evidence and the facts
I
take me.
understand that. And you think I killed Paul?
I have to go where the evidence and the facts take me, and I don't have anything that points to anybody else at this time.
And now proceed to opening statements by the state.
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court. On the evening of June 7th, 2021, at the defendant's property off Moselle Road, about 8:50 p.m., and the defendant over there, Alec Murdaugh, took a 12-shade shotgun and shot him in the shoulder. But after that, another shot went up under his head and did catastrophic damage.
Chief Prosecutor Creighton Waters delivers the opening statements for the prosecution.
To his brain and his head. Just moments later, he picked up a .300 blackout, opened fire on his wife, Maggie. Pow, pow. 2 shots, abdomen and the leg, and took her down. And after that, there were additional shots, including 2 shots to the head that again did catastrophic damage and killed her instantly.
This is Alec Murdaugh.
His opposition is seasoned veteran, defense attorney Dick Harputlian.
And Alec was the loving father of Paul and the loving husband of Maggie. You're not going to hear a single witness say that their relationship, Maggie and Alex's relationship, were anything other than loving.
The defendant said he was never at those kennels, that he was napping after they ate, and he was at the main house and never went there. The evidence will show that he was there. He was at the murder scene with the 2 victims.
His brain exploded out of his head, hit the ceiling in the shed, and dropped to his feet. Horrendous, horrible, butchering. So to find Alec Murdaugh guilty of murdering his son, not believable. Not believable.
Waters then tells the jury that over the case of the trial, they will be shown a series of digital forensics that confirm that during the time of the murder, Alec's phone had no activity. However, exactly at 9:04 p.m., it begins recording movement. While Harputlian claims that evidence shows Alec was at his mother's and shows that he arrived at the kennels at around 10:04, finding his wife and son already dead.
And he comes home and finds his son laying in his own blood with his brain laying at his feet, shot to hell. Hysterical, in grief, trying to figure out what's going on.
Alec's defense attorney also sheds light to the fact that there isn't any eyewitness, nor is there any forensic evidence that proves Alec was the perpetrator of this crime. However, the prosecutor claims that there is an abundance of evidence that conclusively shows that Alec Murdaugh is guilty of the double homicide.
You presume him or her guilty. That is the natural thing to do. And you know what? That's fine for you to do. Any other day except today. Because you took an oath to follow the law. And the law is, he is innocent.
The evidence is going to be such that you're going to reach the inescapable conclusion that Alec murdered Maggie and Paul, that he was the storm, that the storm was coming for them, and the storm arrived on June 7th, 2021, just like the storms that are heading here right now, that they died as a result, beyond any reasonable doubt.
Over the next couple of weeks, the prosecution invites a series of witnesses from Alec's close friends and family to colleagues of his law firm. Under cross-examination, most admit that Alec's relationship with Paul and Maggie was nothing short of loving. However, what some also said is that Alec was living a double life. For over a decade, Alec was not only siphoning money from his clients, he was outright stealing from them.
Did he ever tell you that there had been a recovery for $3.8 million against them?
No,
Did he ever pay you 1 penny of $3.8 million?
no,
When the defendant came to you around the time of your mom's funeral and said he was going to help you and file a claim on your behalf, why did you agree to that?
because I trusted him.
Thank you. Nothing further.
State your name again for the records.
My name is James Christopher Wilson.
Alec's closest friend and business partner testifies on how he learned about his crimes.
The first thing I asked him was, Alec, what the F or what the H is going on here? What is going on? And have you done something else to me or that involves me that I don't know about?
Did he say anything about the money?
He told me that he had been stealing money.
So he confessed that to you, is that
He
correct?
said he had shut a lot of people up. I don't remember exactly how it ended, Mr. Ward, 'cause I was so mad. I'd loved the guy for so long. And I probably still loved him a little bit, but I was so mad. And I don't remember how it ended. I left. I asked him, how did I not know these things or see these things, and we talked. He was concerned about me getting my $192,000 back. Seemed concerned. Told him I wasn't worried about that. At that point, I wanted to make sure there wasn't something else.
The prosecution's theory was that Murdaugh killed Paul and Maggie because his life was falling apart. He was about to be exposed for his financial crimes because of the investigation into Paul's fatal boat crash. The prosecution suggested the pressure got too much to handle, and then he found the perfect opportunity to exchange that stress and pressure for sympathy. He victimized himself by killing the two people closest to him so that he could get away from his financial crisis. And as per the prosecutors, it worked. For months after their death, Alec was the victim of tragedy. The investigation on his financial scheme disappeared. He received 750 Ks to pay back his loans. For a brief moment in time, the world had bought his charade.
Did you know anything about him being confronted on the morning of June 7th, 2021, about $792,000 of missing fees from his law firm?
Objection, Your Honor. It's totally improper.
Objection is overruled.
Did you know anything about that?
No, I did not.
Not one piece of evidence concretely proved that Alec was at the kennels between 8:30 and 9 p.m. when the murders took place, because the question in the jury's mind was Alec Murdaugh at the kennels or not. If he was, it would prove that he had lied about staying in the house. However, if he wasn't, that was enough to squabble reasonable doubt. And then the prosecution presented a video taken by Paul Murdaugh at 8:44 p.m. at the kennels, 6 minutes before his and his mother's murder.
Quit, Cash. Come. Quit. It's okay. Come here. Come here, Cash. Come here. Post it. Cash.
Hey, he's got a bird in his mouth.
Hey, Bubba.
It's a guinea.
This is a chicken.
Come here, Bubba.
Come here, Cash.
Come here, Bubba.
Cash. Quit.
In this video, you can clearly hear Paul. You can also clearly hear Maggie, the only two people who were supposed to be at the kennels at this time, according to the defense. But you don't only hear two voices, you hear three. Listen closely.
It's a guinea.
This is a chicken.
Come here, Bubba.
Come here, Cash.
Come here, Bubba.
Cash.
The video not only proved that Alex was lying about where he was, it proved that Alex was with Paul and Maggie minutes before their murder.
Where do you go at that point?
I take the chicken from Bubba.
So you get up?
Well, Bubba's come out there with this chicken. He's showing us, hey, I caught this chicken. And I take the chicken from Bubba. Well, no, you hear Maggie say he's got a chicken. That's what she's talking about, is Bubba caught the chicken.
All right. All right. So is the kennel video still going on before you go get the chicken? I mean, you've heard it, correct? You've heard it in this courtroom.
I don't know exactly.
The reality is, Mr. Murdaugh, is the reason why no one's ever heard that before is because you had to sit in this courtroom and hear your family and your friends, one after the other, come in and testify that you were on that kennel video. So you, like you've done so many times over the course of your life, had to back up and make a new story that kind of fit with the facts that can't be denied. Isn't that true, sir?
No, sir, that's not true.
On the stand, Alec then admits he lied about his whereabouts around 8:44 and claims he only did because he didn't want to be seen as a suspect. According to Alec's new timeline of the murder, after dinner he went to the kennels with Maggie and Paul, and just as the video on Paul's phone ended, he took the chicken from Bubba's mouth and drove back home in his golf cart. He claims the rest of his story was true, and he came back an hour and 16 minutes later to find Paul and Maggie dead. Dick Harpootlian and his co-counsel Jim Griffin argue that Alex loved his family, as shown in several videos and in the testimony of close friends and family, including his oldest son, Buster Murdaugh, who claimed his dad refused to live or sleep where his son Paul were killed. Prosecutor and co-counsel John Meaders and Creighton Waters present the closing arguments for the prosecution, while Jim Griffin closes it off for the defense.
Maybe you just got angry. Maybe you got angry at Paul. Maybe you got angry, you started all this with the boat case. And maybe he just lost it.
4 minutes later, the state would have you to believe that Alec Murdaugh up and blew his son's brains out of his head and murders his wife. After having that conversation about Bubba having a chicken.
His world's collapsing. It's coming down. All these world is coming down financially. He's confronted that day by somebody's law firm. Where's this check? He's got another hearing coming up.
How could Alec, in the time period we know, how could he have butchered Maggie and Paul without leaving a trace of evidence within a matter of minutes? How? We went from why, now how. And the answer to the how is he couldn't.
This was the only way he could save. It's the only way he could save Alex.
This defendant has fooled everyone who thought they were close to him, everyone who thought they knew he was who he was. He's fooled them all.
There's no direct evidence of Alec doing anything.
And he fooled Maggie and Paul too.
On behalf of Alex, on behalf of Buster, on behalf of Maggie, and on behalf of my friend Paul, I respectfully request that you do not compound a family tragedy with another.
And they paid for it with their lives. Don't let him fool you too.
After less than 3 hours of deliberating, the jury comes back with a unanimous final verdict.
In the term of 2022, July, the state versus Richard Alexander Murdaugh, defendant, indictment for murder, guilty, verdict. Signed by the forelady, 3/2/23.
In the end, Alec Murdaugh was sentenced to 2 life terms for the malicious killing of Maggie and Paul Murdaugh, and an additional 27 years for financial crimes.